Hey guys, welcome in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, the free to play. Today's the 9th of October. You ever have one of those days when things are going pretty good, and then all of a sudden, it gets a little later, kids start spinning out of control, and then you offer to help your wife, and she just snaps at you for apparently no reason. That oh my gosh, I forgot I totally forgot we were saving, by the way. Apologies. We're gonna stop because I've just spent way too much. My intention was not to spend. I forget that from this morning, but yeah, I had a series of events today where everything was going good. Um, I texted our pastor about, maybe hopefully promoting a fundraiser that my kid's school is going to be doing in November, where they're giving away, where somebody donated an entire quarter of a steer. And for those of you who don't know what that means, meat comes from cows, and a steer is a cow. And it's these people are donating a quarter of a steer, which means you take the cow and you put it into quarters, and they're giving away 2/4 of a steer. So they're basically taking half a cow and giving it to people, donating it to people. And my kid's school is going to be doing a raffle for this, where the tickets are $10 for one, whether $10 a piece or 3 for $25. So you could essentially get, if you spend $100, you would essentially get, 12 tickets, basically, because you're getting, so you get 3 for 25. So, 3 times 4 is 12. Sorry, I didn't do the math in my head beforehand. And so obviously you could get 24 for 200, this type of thing. And this meat is, hamburger meat, steaks, possibly, just whatever you can imagine. And raffling it away, and tickets are 10 for 10 each. And so I messaged him, and I'm like, hey, do you think the church would be? This is certainly what the church would do. And he replied to me, and he's like, we don't really. He said, we don't really do, um, you know, that type of non-church related things. And I'm like, and he said it like that. He said, we don't really. And so I thought about it, and I sort of shot him back a reply that said, ... but because you value Christian education, you're willing to do so. And I just put excellent. Sort of trying to inject some humor into the situation, because he didn't really give me an answer. And then a couple hours later, he shot back with this huge texting of how he thought it was being disrespectful. And I'm just trying to be a joke. And I'm just trying to, I wanted him to give me a firm no answer, yes or no. And he didn't. So I kind of felt like there was some ambiguity there. I feel like there was a lot of lack of clarity there. And so I'm just like, the whole, but you're willing to do it because you support this. And so he shot back with this whole, hey, I think you're being disrespectful. Blah, blah, blah. And that sort of crushed me. And I was like, he's a millennial. I'm not a millennial. And so, I'm like, surely this guy is going to understand this, that I'm not what I'm getting at here. And he totally did. And so I spent, time spelling out this text about, hey, how I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just, I thought this might be something people would be interested in because, it's a pretty big value for not a lot of money and just help out the kid's school. And then he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood, but we won't be supporting it. And I was like, and I'm just, I'm like struggling with that because it's like, this is a lot of meat and you're just shutting it down because. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess, you know, and my reasoning behind it, well, I guess, he'll, for not giving, he'll be the one answering for why he didn't give people the choice over me. And so I'm like, I just gave him the information. He said no. And so that was one thing. Before that, the kids they were getting tired. They were spinning the control. They were like over, they were just doing all this crazy stuff. And so my wife was like, you guys, you kids got to go to bed. And so she put them in bed. And then she came back down and I was loading the dishwasher at the time. And I went to leave and I'm like, is there something that you need help with? And she thought I was asking something else. And I walked upstairs and then I realized that I went back downstairs. I'm like, what do you think I asked? And she's like, the thing we talked about earlier. I'm like, well, that's not what I asked. I'm like, I asked if you needed help with anything. And she just was, you could tell she was tired too. And, up until the three events happened, the day was really pretty good. She took the baby to the to daycare and it was fine. I took the kids to school, came back, went to my chiropractor appointment, got gas, came back, ate lunch at noon, and then went for a longer walk than I normally go for. I've been extending these walks, getting more steps in. And then I came back, picked up the kids from school. Wife brought the babies home. And then we, had dinner. She took the girl to dance. We took the car to the mechanics, came home. And then this is when all this transpired. And I was just like, it's a really good day up until that point. But then at some point it changed. And I'm not exactly sure what happened. And so I was just kind of stuck with this. That went sideways in a hurry because it did. And it just left me with a really, I'm just still scratching my head. I'm like, what happened? Because I said this and this devolved into this and it just left me flabbergasted basically a lot. And I wasn't happy with how that turned out, but it was because it just made no sense. Anyway, normally we wouldn't be going for a nest, but we already did, so there's that. Totally, it's based on the fact that I'd already done that. Let's get the ships. I need to put a note on that says, hey, we're not, because I said that this morning and I totally forgot. Or it was like, yeah, it was morning when I did the video this morning. And I'm like, yeah, we're not going to use any more energy. And then what do I do? I totally come in here. I'm like, oh, hey, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, totally just jumped out of my mind. And I'm like, well, what are you going to do, right? But yeah, it was a pretty good day. Up until the hours of about 5 to 7:30 maybe. And it's just, I don't know. I don't think there's really anything to explain. It's just my kids they just get tired. Other people, the whole text thing was a tone issue. The guy didn't understand the tone I was using. And then my wife thought I was asking about something that, and you can imagine what it is. You can imagine what it is. And she had already agreed to it. And then she just melted down on me. And I'm like, oh, come on, And I'm just like, it just didn't leave me feeling the best. But at least the day was good up till that point, and the day has been good since that point. So I'm going to count that as a win. And it's just unfortunate. It's just unfortunate that words get misconstrued. People think you're saying something else because they're exhausted. It's like, I don't know. And the text messages with my pastor was really weird because he got super defensive, and he was like, "You're being disrespectful." And I'm like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. You're totally misreading what I'm saying. I'm trying to be humorous, and you're taking it the wrong way, and I'm sorry. But here's what I'm saying that you're not getting. And to me, it would be easier for me to understand if you just said, "Oh, I'm sorry, blah blah blah." It sounds like a great idea. Give people the opportunity to win some meat and feed their family, possibly. Let's do it, because that's what I would have done. Because it's like, all I'm asking for is to give people the opportunity. Because it's like, it's their choice if they want to participate or not. And it's just odd. It was just weird. And I don't know. But anyway, we're already pretty much done today and didn't get any traction anywhere. It is what it is. But it's been 14 minutes, almost 15. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, all of you. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. Otherwise, just as always, God bless. Hold the line. Remember that I have friends everywhere. Bye.